to be more than you would earn at 5% or 12% on a senior coach because the volume is bigger. You following me?
Yeah.
All right, good. Now here's where that fully integrated business coach bonus comes in. Once you're, I'll read it to you because I want you to know the exact qualifications. This would be a goal for any of you who are executive directors with volume. Your next major milestone is to become a fully integrated business coach. Okay? So that if you do that 3 months in a row, you qualify 3 months in a row, they give you the $1,000 bonus. Here's what you need to do. A business coach who's reached the level of mastery when he or she has achieved the level of fully integrated business coach. This is attained when a qualified executive director is certified, they have 6,000 or more in frontline volume, they have 5 qualified senior coach teams that they've supported, and those group of coaches and all of their frontline volumes add up to 15,000 in volume. Does that make sense? If you do that 3 months in a row, you get an extra $1,000 bonus. You can get a total of $8,000 in bonuses by being consistent with Take Shape for Life. So why is it important to go pro? It pays to go pro. It pays to go pro. Now, what about executive director? When you're building a larger team, you also get paid on levels of executive directors based on your level. So if you're a regional director, you get paid 2.5% on one level of executive director. If you're an integrated regional, you get 2 levels at 2.5%. If you're a national director, 2 levels of 2.5%. If you're integrated national, you get 3 levels, 2 at 2.5%, 1 at 2%. Now when you get over here, the top level, you're going to get paid down 6 levels of executive directors. First level, second level, third, fourth, all the way down. And that's when the numbers start adding up because you have a lot of people on your team that are getting healthy. And the more people you help, the more Take Shape for Life pays you. So this is what that would look like. I'm not going to go into detail, but one thing to notice is if this person is an executive director level is not the level they are to you in the sponsorship. It's those who qualify. So if this person I sponsored, and they sponsor somebody else who hit executive, and they sponsor somebody else who executive, this is not level 1. This is 0. This is level 1. This is level 2. Does that make sense? There could be 10 coaches here. They could be coach, 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 coach. Executive director, that's still level 1, executive director. So executive director bonuses are not equal to levels. They're called generations. Generations of executive directors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So kind of in summary, because I don't want to bore you with this, but here's the bottom line. Hope I didn't overwhelm you guys. Was that helpful for some of you?
Yeah.
Okay. What's most important is that with this business, you can come out of the gate and you can make some pretty good income really fast. How many of you were surprised that you could actually replace? Somebody said in our testimony, in about 3 months, they were able to produce what most people earn in a year. But there's going to be a point when you can only see so many clients and that'll kind of plateau, that'll top out. True or false? That's health coaching income graph. When you start doing team building, now your organizational income, it does take longer. Let's be honest, it takes longer to develop a team. It takes longer for you to develop the skills to develop a team. That's why you have to go what? Pro. You can go to training. What do pros do? They go to training. But over time, your organizational income will supersede that. Matter of fact, I carry $8,000 to $10,000 a month frontline volume every month. And still, even making, what would that be? 31%, about $3,000 a month in coaching fees. That is a very small percentage of my overall income because our team is out there with 2,000 health coaches getting America healthy. So that's what you want. And when you combine those 2 graphs together, this is what it looks like. You get started, you develop your skills, you start sponsoring coaches, and then boom, your growth goes like that. So, when you want to set your goals, get with your business coach and look at the income disclosure statement and set, what are my goals? What income do I want to make per month? Go to the average, look at the average monthly income, and then say, okay, what structure of business do I need? What size of business do I need to make that my reality for me and my family? So that I can do the things that I want to do. I can take those trips. I can fly across the country to see the baby being born. Set the goal based on the average, but realize, as Greg and Robert said, there is the high. This is like what the pros do, right? This is what the average coach does. So set your goal somewhere between the average, and once you get there, then set it for what's the high, all right? And then if you want to annualize it, just take the average monthly income and multiply that times 12. So let's talk about this thing about knowing your numbers. Knowing your numbers. All right, so first of all, you got to know your current reality, right? If you want to have structural tension, you need 2 points. of reference. You need to know where you want to go and where you are right now. So right now, I want you to write this down. What's your hourly rate? Some of you know your hourly rate because you get paid per hour. Some of you need to think about it in the context of your salary. So if you get a monthly salary, then you got to work backwards. Okay, what do I get paid per month? What do I get paid for how many hours a week? And then you got to break it down to per hour. But I want you to think about that. How many hours do you work? And write these two numbers down. What's your day job income? And how many hours per week do you work to earn that? When somebody does this exercise with Take Shape Life, oftentimes it's a big wake-up call. They're making $25 an hour with their nail salon business, and they're making $81 an hour as their coaching business because they're only working 5 hours a week coaching, right? So you got to look at the time freedom component. Now do the same for Take Shape Life. What you have to do is you might have to do the math. You might say, okay, what's my monthly check with Take Shape Life? Divide that by how many hours per week. Divide that by 4. And then you have your hours, your dollars per hour. But also it's important to look at how many hours are you investing in Take Shape Life. Because if you want to be a pro, how many of you agree an hour a week is probably not going to do it? Right? It's not about how many hours, it's about the consistency. Just about every global director, for its exception of maybe 2 or 3 that I know of, started off building Take Shape Life part-time while they had something else going on, another business, another career. So it doesn't have to be up to full-time, but you have to be consistent. So the moment of truth, if you keep doing what you've been doing for the last couple of years, where will you be in the next couple of years? Pretty much where you are. If you want to try our plan, let me talk to you about what would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? What goal would you set for yourself if you knew that there was actually a track record with hundreds of people that have gone before you, just like you, everyday people, UPS drivers, work-at-home moms, you name it. Some doctors, a few, yeah. But you're willing to do whatever it takes. Let me talk to you what you can do. And I'm going to give you my bulletproof success strategy. 5 simple steps. Number 1, choose to take responsibility for where you are. Because how many would agree that where you are right now is a direct result of the choices and the actions you've taken up till now? True or false? Sure. So if you're in the blame mode and excuses mode, then you're not going to, the rest of these steps don't matter. Step 1, you have to take responsibility for where you are right now and where you go right now from here forward. Number 2, identify your why and get clear on your 1 or 2 year goals. Think more than just 9 days. Get out there a little ways. Get out there a year or 2. Number 3, now back it down to a 90-day goal. Put it into a 90-day structural tension chart. Your business coach will help you through all these steps. True or false? Okay? Once you have your 90-day game plan, then you got to take what? You got to go to what? Work. The painting's not going to paint itself. The coaches aren't going to jump out of the box. You buy the kit, there's no coaches in there. You got to go build this business. And the actions are important. What I'm going to talk about next are key performance indicators. The types of actions are important. How many of you know somebody who works 20 hours a week with Take Shape Life, but they're still senior coach? You know, or they're not taking the right action. So take daily action, and then finally, number 5, track and review your results with your business coach. Track and review your results with your business coach. This is the formula for guaranteed success. If you see what you're doing, whether it's working or not, you check in with your coach, here's what it's going to look like. You're going to set your goals, your structural tension chart. Here's where you want to go, here's where you are, here's the actions. Talk to so many people a day, do so many presentations, host a healthy happy hour, whatever it is. You take the action. Every action there's going to be a what? A result. You evaluate that result with your business coach, you make adjustments, and then you do what? You take action again. And hopefully you improve, because if you pay attention to whether I'm winning or losing, whether the actions I'm taking are working or not, then you know where to work. So let's talk about that. How do you know where to work? How do you know what to focus on? We have this concept called SAC. It stands for skills, actions, and concepts. Now here's the good news. So being a health coach or a business coach, there's a set of skills, just a handful of skills that you need. Not a lot. It's not overwhelming. You need to know how to share, how to invite, how to present, and how to support, how to coach somebody. Those are the fundamental skills. You can break those down into sub-skills, but that's the big picture. Actions. Sometimes people aren't taking enough action. So let's say somebody's not getting the results that they want, as a coach, as a mentor, I want to look at, is it their skills? Well, first thing I want to assume is don't want to assume they have the skills. I want to do it with them. I want to show them how to do it. So always start with skills. If they're not getting the results, start with skills. Make sure, inspect what you expect. Don't just hope they know how to do it. Find out if they know how to do it. Ask them to role play with you. Listen in on one of their calls. Check it out. See if they know how to do it, if they have the skills. Because sometimes people have the skills, but they don't take the action. That indicates it's a what? It's a concept. It could be that they're just so out of balance that they don't have time to take action, which is a different skill called time management, right? But you got to look at where do they need, and the only way you can tell is the action intentional? And also, is the action enough action for their goals? Because if somebody wants to be presidential and they're talking to one person a day, it's going to take a long time to get there, right? So if the action has to be commensurate to the goal that they set. You don't set the goal for them, and you don't set the actions for them. You tell them, and I'll tell you how to gauge that right now. And later on, a couple of our leaders are going to talk to you about how to help somebody who has a concept. When it's a fear or an excuse, and they're not taking action, we're going to talk about how to move through that in just a second. So the 80-20 rule, who's heard of it? All right, what does it say? 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. 80% of your team volume will come from 20% of your coaches. 80% of your problems will come from 20% of your clients. This is an interesting thing. We use this metaphor called the apples. And what I found is the 80-20 rule is alive and well, thousands of years later after the great guy who invented it, Pradio, is 20% of people you talk to are ripe and ready. 80% need some time. I found that about 60% of them are green apples, and over time they will become ready. But there's about 20% that are what we call what? Rotten apples. And they're just not a fit. And they're probably not going to be a fit. And matter of fact, they're so much not a fit that they think you're crazy for even doing this. And they're going to try to talk you out of it. So realize that you can't help everyone. What you're looking for is to find the people who are red apples, jump right in and work with them. The ones that are green and need some time, stay connected, like Karen and everyone talked about, stay connected until they ripen. And the ones that are rotten, just keep them away from the other bunch of apples so they don't spoil. So know you're not